Joel Keddie here with some more high-level tech training for Extendly. And let's see. I did have a request last week on setting up inbound messaging workflows for sort of the various different channels that a lead might come through. So I have been working through funnels for the last little while. There's still a little bit to do in the funnels, but I did have a special request. So this is for Jenna Leadingham, who had asked to cover this. So that's what I'm going to do today. So hopefully, Jenna, you'll see this either on a replay or maybe you'll join the call at some point today. But either way, this is going to cover. Hopefully, this is what you were asking for. As far as getting sort of how to set up some of those, initial basic inbound communications. So let me just set here. All right, sharing my screen now. Okay, cool. All right, so if you are not, utilizing a snapshot yourself from somebody else that you purchased or been given through an affiliate connection or anything like that, and you want to build your own workflows for inbound communication. So let's start off with just creating a folder, and we'll say, inbound leads. And I'm just going to do this to keep things organized a little bit. I like to keep things as organized as possible in different folders. So we'll do all of the workflows in here. And there's a few different ways that you can do this. So I'm just going to kind of build it as I go. You could potentially build one separate workflow for each of the different channels. So, Facebook Messenger, Google My Business Messenger, web chat widget, Instagram DMs. Those are like the main inbound channels. So you could have a separate workflow for each of those, or you could build them all into one workflow. So let's just start building here. So I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm just going to make a new workflow. So we'll go to workflows, create workflow, start from scratch, create new workflow. All right, so I'm going to start off. Let's call this inbound lead for now, and hit save. Anytime you make a change to a workflow, you'll notice the save button lights up. So I like to try to save at every opportunity, just in case something happens, something, crashes, my internet gives out. Try to save as often as possible so you don't lose any of your work. All right, so typically the first thing I actually like to do before I even start building in a workflow, and I've, kind of shown off some stuff on the fly in the past, but typically if I'm actually building out a workflow, I want to start with the settings and just go through the different settings here. So I want to determine, just so that this doesn't get missed, because sometimes if you're like, I was doing an example of something yesterday and I tried to test it. I tested it and then I tested it a second time, and the second time it didn't go through, didn't work. And that's because I just kind of was doing it, too quickly. And I didn't do my usual going through the settings and turning on allow multiple. And this depends on your use case of how the workflow is meant to function. So just keep that in mind. If you need people to be able to go through the workflow multiple times, make sure you turn on the allow multiple. All right, so we'll just go down the list here. If you're familiar with workflows and you've seen this, cool. If not, maybe maybe you're brand new, or you just haven't really played around with workflows a lot yet. The default settings. So time window. So you want to determine if you want this workflow to fire at any time. So as soon as it's triggered, you want it to fire. Or is there specific days and times that you want it to be able to fire? So typically, I just leave it on any time. And if I need to do any kind of filtering as far as time goes, again, just really depends on your use case of what you're trying to do with that workflow. You can build in filters for specific days and times. So if you want to have somebody comes in as a lead, maybe through your web chat, and it's regular business hours, fire off this message. If it's outside of business hours, you can fire off this message. The only way to do it that way would be to leave it on any time. So for this case, I am going to leave it on any time. But if you have some kind of workflow that you want to only fire off certain days of the week, or during certain hours, then you can set it for 7 days, pick your hours, or you can set certain days. So what'll happen is the workflow will technically be triggered by whatever your trigger is, but it won't fire off any of the actions until it hits the window that you've set here. So let's say somebody comes in on a Saturday, you have Saturdays turned off. They're not going to get this message or whatever your next step is in here until Monday at 8 a.m. So that's kind of how that works. As soon as that window comes around, if the workflow's been triggered, they will end up going through it when that window opens up. So most of the time, I leave it to just any time, and then I change things inside the workflow. So sender address email. As you can see here, it says gives your emails a default from name and from email address. You can override this by setting the from name and from email in the actions themselves. So what does that mean? If you want to set the email from name and the from address here in the settings, you can. So if you do that, every single email that comes out from this workflow will come from that name and that email, unless you change it on the email action inside the workflow. So in this case, let's pretend that this was from Extendly and it was going to be from support@getextendly.com, right? If that's whatever your business name is, whatever your email address is that you want them to come from, you can put that in there. Then we're going to go, do we want people to be able to go through this workflow more than one time? Or do we want it to only fire once? So in this case, we want them to be able to go through multiple times, right? Even if so I'm probably going to build this out so that all of it is in one workflow. But we'll start with one single channel and we'll kind of build from there. Even if it's a single channel, Facebook Messenger, Instagram, whatever, you do want somebody to be able to go through here multiple times. If they reach out to your business and they go through the workflow, you're having a conversation with them through Facebook or whatever, and then that conversation ends, but then maybe they reach out later again. If you don't have allow multiple turned on, this workflow won't fire. So they're not going to get any, automated message back about thanks for contacting us. You're not going to get notified that they've reached out. So definitely in this case, we want to turn on allow multiple. Stop on response. Stop on response means as soon as they respond to any of your outbound messages, your automations, it will kill the workflow. It'll kick them out and it'll end it. If you're just doing like a straight nurturing sequence and you're reaching out and you just have like a series of maybe text messages that go out, and as soon as they've responded, you want that to stop. You don't want to keep following up with them after they've responded to your automations. So in that case, I would use stop on response. In this case, we're going to be doing some other things with this workflow, so we don't want it to stop when they respond. So we're going to leave that turned off. Conversation management. So auto mark as read. So what this means is when you have outbound communication to a lead, even if there's no messages coming back in from them, it still shows up as unread messages in the conversations. So if you want all of the conversations to be marked as read as you're sending out communication, then you want to turn that on. And I am going to, in this situation, Hey, what's up, Wayne?
Hey, what's going on?
How are you doing?
Just I'm trying to figure out find my why my video is not working here. Give me a moment.
No
Just you
worries.
on the call here?
Yep, just doing some workflow training today.
Nice.
I had a request from somebody last week on a specific topic, so I'm going to kind of cover that. But I'm also open for Q&A if you have any questions or if you just want to sit in and see what I'm up to.
Awesome, man.
Hey, there you are.
I'll kind of sit in for a little bit if you don't mind.
Yeah. Are you have you been using high level for a while? Are you newer? What's your story?
So I've used it here and there in the past, really just for like one man things, right? Just kind of myself running my own agency. We're actually just starting to kind of build out and install for our business now on the coaching and consulting side of things.
Okay,
So yeah,
cool.
actually just
Very
have it
nice.
just had a call with you guys yesterday and just kind of getting into it. So I had a sales call that bailed on me, and I saw this was open, so I thought I'd hop in.
Cool. Awesome. Sounds good. All right. So yeah, what I'm doing basically is I had a request last week from somebody asking if I could show how I would go about setting up some typical inbound lead communication. So through workflows, whether you're getting messages from the web chat widget, Facebook Messenger, etc. So just kind of working through my process of how I would build that out. Um, So yeah, we're just kind of getting started here. I'm personally live Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 9 o'clock Pacific time
Okay.
every week, and then we've got a couple other coaches in the group as well, different times. Okay, so I was just talking about the auto mark as read feature here. So as you're sending out automations through the workflows, they're going to show up in your inbox as unread messages, even though you maybe haven't received communication back from a lead. So if you want those to go out and be marked immediately as read, then you want to turn that on. If you're fine with them looking unread, even though the lead maybe hasn't responded back, then you can turn that off. But I'm going to turn this on in this case. So what's going to happen is lead's going to send in a message from one of the channels. We're going to have an automation that goes out to them, and then we want those to be marked as read, and then when they respond, they can be marked as unread. And then this one down here, event start date, this is deprecated, so don't even worry about that. So those are the main settings in here that you want to go ahead and sort of set up so that you don't forget after you've built your workflow. So we'll go through those first. And then once you're kind of happy with those, and then we can jump in and we'll actually start building out the workflow. So let's go ahead and start with going to do the web chat widget, and then we'll kind of move from there. So the way that you would set up all of these as far as triggers goes would be using the trigger customer replied. So that is what's going to trigger an inbound message from a customer. And then you're going to choose your filters. And you're going to go with reply channel. And then that's where you're going to pick what type of inbound message you're receiving. So in this case, we're going to say the chat widget. So that means that somebody's come to your website, they initiated the chat widget, and they're going to send a message in. So we're just going to do reply channel chat widget, and then I'm going to say chat widget. I like to try to name everything as, give it obvious names so you know what all the different actions are, especially if you're using, if we put in, say, another customer replied action in here or a trigger for another channel, and I don't name it, then what ends up happening, and I'm going to hit save there. What ends up happening is, for example, I'm probably going to use an if else function in here. And if I want to filter by the workflow trigger, something's slowing me down here. There we go. So if I haven't named my triggers properly, you'll see they'll all just say customer replied, right? If I'm using a bunch of different triggers. So I like to name them so I know exactly what each of them is. So this one, obviously, I know is Facebook because I chose that. But if I haven't named all of them, that makes things a little bit confusing there. So I would name that Facebook Messenger, and that way we know exactly what it is. One thing to note when you're building out workflows as well, if you make a change, such as adding a new trigger, or even just changing the name of it, since I didn't save it yet, I'm just going to open up that if else again. Oh, actually, it did add it there, so that works. But if you add a new one, so let's again add in, let's say GMB. So I've added the GMB trigger, but I haven't saved the workflow yet. And unless they've updated this, we'll find out. Yeah, then you don't even have that option. So you see, I do have the trigger set here, but it's not showing up as an option in my if else branches. So once you add a new trigger, you do have to save it for it to actually show up. Now that I've saved it, we will have the option to select it. And there it is, GMB. All right, so in this case, I'm just going to kind of build this out. Again, you could build this out as separate workflows for each different channel, or you can kind of build it all in one, and then just filter based on the type of message that's coming in to do whatever the different actions are that you want. So in this case, I'm just going to start with the chat widget stuff. So let's pretend these other triggers are not here, and you get an inbound chat widget. One thing I would probably do, I like to do, is add a tag. So I'm going to say, lead chat widget. And then I also like to make sure that I'm adding, I'm renaming my actions as well, so I know exactly what's happening. So I'm adding that tag, and I say exactly what that is. That way, when you're going through your workflows, especially once they start to get bigger, you can at a glance see what everything is. So if I have a wait step in here somewhere, I'm going to say in the title of that wait step how long that step is, so that I can just look at it and say, okay, I know that's a 10-minute wait, that's a 24-hour wait, etc. So we're going to tag them. Then you're probably going to want to assign a user. And again, depending on your business, if you're a solopreneur, you're the only one taking, any kind of communication with leads, obviously just assign yourself, or you might have somebody who's in charge of, chat widget versus Facebook versus Google. If you have, different assignments in that way, you can assign specific leads to, or specific users to those conversations. I'm just going to throw myself in there for now. And you do have the option here to toggle. So if this is if it's a contact who's maybe already in your system, they're reaching out again, they're already assigned to somebody else, maybe they've already had a conversation with somebody, you can toggle this on to only apply to an unassigned contact. So that means if it's a brand new contact, has never been assigned to somebody, they're going to get assigned to this person. If they're already assigned to somebody else, that assignment will stay if you toggle this on. However, if they're assigned to somebody else and you don't toggle this on, they'll be reassigned to whatever user you've chosen here. And so I'm just going to say assign to Joel. And I like to save it every once in a while just so we don't lose any work. And then we are going to send a message back. So in this case, when it's web chat, it's just simply SMS, right? There is no other specific channel. So you would just send an SMS in response to that web chat. And you can obviously, if you have a template, I don't know what this SMS greeting is. It's just, hey, first name. If you have text message templates set up, you can pull from there, or you can just craft a message right in here. So we'll say, hey, contact first name. Thanks for reaching out to us at, and then I'm going to throw in account name. So that's going to be the name of the sub account. So if you've got your proper business name in there, so that was, in my case, if we're using my Lead Connect, it would say, hey, thanks for reaching out to us at Lead Connect. We've received your inquiry. Somebody will get back to you ASAP. All right, so we're going to send SMS inquiry received. And that is a very basic workflow. You probably want to expand on that though, and send an internal notification to the assigned user. So I'm going to go with assigned user because we are assigning a user here, and you want to let them know they have a new web chat lead. You have a new inquiry through web chat from, and I'm going to give the name so they know who to look for from this person. And then you can actually put in what their message was. And we're going to go message body. So that way, whatever their message was that they sent through that web chat widget, you can actually get notified of exactly what that message was through text. So you know before you hop into the conversation what that message is. So that's going to be SMS notification to assigned user. Actually, in this case, I'll put to Joel because that's who I assigned it to. All right, so now we've got tag, we're assigning to a user, we're sending a response back to that person, and then we are notifying the assigned user. So another thing you're probably going to want to do here, if you do, let's see, trying to think this through a little bit. You might want to put in a wait step and wait for the customer to reply, which is no condition. There it is, contact reply. And then it's asking you which step you want the reply to be received to. Now you can't really see it in the background. I'm going to stretch my window here. When you hover over it, I don't know why they do this, because for most people, this window is so wide, it's probably blocking. But when you hover over it, you can actually see the SMS action in the background kind of expanding. So it's like showing you which one you're selecting. So you can wait for them to reply to that message before anything else moves forward. Or you can also put a timeout on it and say, you're going to wait for a reply. However, if they don't respond within a certain amount of time, move forward anyway. So in this case, let's say we're waiting for 10 minutes. Wait 10 minutes for reply. And I'm actually going to move this action up. I'd just like to have it. Actually, no, sorry. I'm going to move this one up here. So we're going to do the notification before the message. So now we're waiting for a reply to that message. And then we would want to throw in an if else here. And it's going to be condition. Did they reply? And then you can say yes. Contact replied is true. And then you can send them down that branch and, again, notify the assigned user, maybe in that case, that the contact has replied back to the automation. All right. Sometimes this goes a little wonky. Just going to refresh that. All right, so we've reached out to the contact. We're waiting for them to reply. And in this case, we probably want to change this message and say, hey, thanks for reaching out to us. If we just leave it at that, then it's kind of open-ended and they're waiting for us to reply, obviously. You could have it look a little bit less automated and maybe ask them a specific question. So, just depending on your business or your use case there, you could ask a question. So you're actually, expecting them to respond. Such as, so obviously when they submitted the web chat, we have no idea what their message is, but you could ask another question here and say, was there anything else you needed help with aside from your initial message? Something like that, right? So you're kind of prompting them to respond. You want to ask a question so that they do respond. So you've been notified. You can obviously hop in there once you've gotten that notification, take over the conversation. If they reply to that message right away, they're going to go down this path here. Did they reply? Yes, they did. And then whatever you want to do here. So here you could, again, send another message. And you could say, okay, great. Somebody will get back to you ASAP. And then again, you could send another internal notification if you want. And we're going to go to assigned user again. And we use the contact's name and say, responded to the web chat automation. Here's what they said. And again, we'll throw in the message body. And say they are awaiting your reply. Just to kind of prompt them. Internal notification, customer responded. So now they've actually responded to, let's see, let's just call this SMS number 2 for now. All right, so did they reply? Yes. Okay, so then you're going to respond to them. You've asked them, hey, is there anything else we can help you besides your initial message? They respond to that. However they respond, you say, okay, great, somebody will get back to you ASAP. You alert the assigned user that they have responded now so that they're engaged in the conversation. They didn't just leave that initial message in the web chat and then they've disappeared. So you can hop in and start communicating with them. And then for certain inbound leads, for the chat widget, it's only going to fire off when they actually initiate something through the chat widget. In this situation, just trying to think. So this will only get fired when they initiate the chat widget from the website. If they respond to your SMS, that's not going to fire. If you say had a customer replied and you had the reply channel of SMS, then every single time that they responded to your messages, this would fire because we do have allow multiple turned on. So that's not something you want to do. So I'm not going to put that in. I'm just showing that as an example. But if you are using a reply channel of SMS, this would fire every single time. If you were using Facebook or Google, if they're responding, because in that situation, if they're using Facebook Messenger and they send your page message and then you send an automation and then they reply to that automation, they're still using Facebook Messenger. And so every single time that they sent a message through Facebook, this entire workflow would trigger. So with those certain channels, we're going to do something a little bit different to kind of track that you actually have an active ongoing conversation with them. So you could set up something sort of similar here. And let me see. One thing I want to do as well is you don't want them to sit and wait for you to respond if they're not responding. If the assigned user never hops in here and they're just sitting waiting, then what you can do as well is you see, we're going to add a tag. And it's going to be, see, web chat pending. All right. So that what that tag means in this situation is that the customer has not been responded to by the assigned user yet. So we're going to add this tag here. We're waiting for the user to come in and respond. And in fact, we'll probably cut this down because we don't need to wait 10 minutes for this. We can go with like 5 minutes, maybe even less. Let's do 3 minutes. So we're going to wait 3 minutes for the reply. Did they reply? Yes, they did. Okay, send a follow-up message and notify the assigned user again. Sorry, internal SMS to Joel. Responded. There we go. We're adding the web chat pending tag. And then I'm actually going to add a task here. And this task is going to be remove pending tag. When you respond to the customer, make sure to remove the web chat pending tag. And we're going to assign it to contacts assigned user and due immediately. Get specific there, remove the pending tag. So what that's going to do is it's going to have the assigned user, it's going to add a task to them telling them to remove that tag. And then we're going to wait for, let's say 10 minutes. We'll give, we're going to wait 10 minutes. And this 10-minute wait is basically to give the assigned user a chance to come in here and respond. And then we're going to throw in another if else here. And it's, is the chat still pending? And what we're doing here now is we're going to look for, this a little fast. What I want to do is I want to check to see if that contact still has that tag attached. So if that tag is still attached, that means A, the assigned user didn't remove the tag. They responded but forgot to remove the tag, or hopefully they know what to do there. And this means that they haven't responded yet. So the customer's still sitting there waiting. So we're going to go, we want to look for the tags. We're going to go into contact details, and then you just type in the search box tag, and we're going to go tags. And we're looking to see if the tag includes the web chat pending tag. So is the chat still pending? Yes, it is. In this case, you can say send a message back to the customer and say, say, hey, it looks like our team is, wrapped up with other customers at the moment. Is this the best number to reach you at? We will be sure to call you as soon as somebody is available. Something like that. Whatever your protocol in your business would be. Let's see. Actually, I'm going to end it with the question. Sometimes if people don't have the question last, they don't answer the question. So we're going to say, hey, it looks like our team's wrapped up with other customers at the moment. We'll be sure to call you as soon as somebody is available. Is this the best number to reach you at? Reach you at. There we go. So in this situation, right, if it's a Facebook message or something like that, you can ask for their phone number because you may not have it. In this case, they've given a phone number. We're texting them already. So just say, is this the best number to reach you at? We will call you, say that. SMS, we will call you. All right. And then we should, again, we're going to add a task to the assigned user, contacts assigned user, and it's going to be call. We're going to say contact name ASAP. Customer hit the wait period for the chat. Please give them a call right away. And then we're also going to have that one due now. And then make sure to remove pending tag after the call. Okay. So now what I'm also going to do is, because we have a tag down here where we've got a pending web chat with somebody, they haven't been communicated back to, and or they haven't been called back if they get this far in the workflow. I'm also going to go ahead and add an if else up here and ask if this is a pending chat. So we're going to look for the same tag up here. Hey, what's up, Josh? How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing well, thank you.
Good.
Chat pending. All right, so in this case, what's going to happen is this contact has reached out through the web chat. You know, we've gone through all these actions here, added a tag, assigned the user, all that stuff. And then down here, they've got a pending web chat tag. And that's to be removed by the assigned user when they respond back, or if they don't respond back right away, we're letting the user know to give them a call. They've got a new task assigned. So once they call or respond back at this point, they should remove that tag. So if for any reason none of that has happened, and this client reaches out again through the web chat, basically what's going to happen here is it'll see that tag exists and it won't fire off, because there already is a pending chat and tasks assigned to that user or to that contact. All right, so that, I think that should pretty much cover it. Actually, we should also send one more internal notification, I think, down here. And again, I'm going to send an SMS, and you can send, obviously you can build it out however you want. There's SMS, there's email, or there's, if you select notification, that's going to be an internal notification inside of HighLevel. So if you're using the app, and you have your notifications turned on, you'll actually get a push notification on your mobile device, or it'll show up under that little bell icon inside of the platform. In this case, I'm just going to go with SMS because those ones tend to have the higher success rate, I find, just in case users don't have their notifications turned on for any reason. So we're going to go SMS to assigned user. And we're going to say internal SMS notification, all customer ASAP. Okay, and this one is going to be contact full name. Has been waiting longer than 10 minutes. Please call them as soon as you are available. And let's see, we can maybe even put their phone number in here so that we know their phone number, just in case they don't pop into HighLevel or open the app and call from there. They've got the phone number. They could call from their cell if needed. And then I think we'll actually do one more thing here as well, is we'll do one more wait step. We're just going to do a straight time delay of, see, hopefully, you're responding back within 24 hours. So we're going to do a wait step of 24 hours. That client's going to sit in that workflow. wait 24 hours. And then we are going to remove the pending tag anyway. So that way, if they do reach out again, because we're looking for that tag, that the if else up here at the top that I just threw in here, this is more of a, if they reach out, within the next 24 hours while they're still kind of waiting for a response, that's not going to get fired off. But if we do want to get that tag removed at some point, so that if they reach out a week from now, 2 weeks, 6 months from now, they're not just constantly sitting in that workflow or sitting in here with this tag and no notifications are going to get sent out. So that'll just sit there for 24 hours and then we're going to remove that tag anyway. Okay. So I think that pretty much covers it. Now that is obviously getting very sort of in depth as far as the different actions you can take. But what I would now do is you can kind of duplicate this same process for all of your different channels because they could all have a very similar process. So what we could do here now is we have added already in the GMB and the Facebook reply channels. So now we can say, we're going to add in a condition for the reply channel and we're going to go GMB message. And then we're going to select workflow trigger is GMB message. And then I'm going to add another branch for Facebook. And again, I'm just going to select the workflow triggers for each of these. And the last one is going to be web chat widget. And workflow trigger again, web chat widget. All right, so as soon as you add in an if else above other actions, whatever your current actions are, they're going to go under the very first branch. So what we can do here is actually just move this entire thing. So I'm going to go move all actions. So we built this for the web chat. I'm just going to move it over here. So now it's going to be, if this came in through the web chat widget, it's going to see that that's where it came from. That's the trigger that fired it off. It's going to go down that path, and then it's going to follow all of our actions here. Now that we kind of have that built out, and we might make a few little changes over here, but we can also copy this entire section. So I'm copying right from this pending chat. And we can copy it for GMB. And if we don't need to make any changes at all, and we just want, we'll go through each and make a few little changes, but we can copy all actions as well again and put them under Facebook. So now we have each of the channels has that same workflow happening. So the main differences that we're going to do here is we're going to go through and so where are we under GMB? So under here, we're going to change this tag. And we're going to create a lead -GMB tag. Okay. And again, if you want to, if you have a certain person who maybe is more in charge of Google Messages versus Facebook versus web chat, you can change who the assigned user is if you need to. Internal notification. So we're going to change that up. And it's going to be, you have a new inquiry through GMB. The rest of it can stay the same. So the message body is still going to pull through regardless of what channel it is. So we'll leave that, but we're just going to change up that notification to say, you've got an inquiry from GMB instead. Okay, so that's updated. And then obviously we're not going to send a text message back to this contact because we don't have their phone number. So we're going to change this message and I'm going to keep the message. Actually, it looks like I have a typo in there, initial message. So let me change that up before I forget over here. All right, and so we added a tag, We've updated that. Okay, so now we need to actually remove this text message. So I'm going to delete, and be careful when you're deleting stuff because there is a delete all actions from here. So if I accidentally hit that, it's going to remove everything from that point down. So I just want to make sure I delete just that single action. And in this case now, we're going to add in, the action is going to be GMB messaging. So it's actually going to send a message back through the GMB platform. So you can say, hey, first name, thanks for reaching out to us. So I'm going to do a similar message here at, the business name. How can I help you today? So again, we're prompting them to reply. Okay, we're prompting them to reply. We still have the wait step here. Yeah. So it's just letting me know there's an error because I have a wait step for a message that doesn't exist here. So I'm actually fixing that right now anyway. So the contact reply, and we want to now change that reply step to, we're waiting for a reply to that GMB message. And we're going to save that. And then same thing, did they reply? Yes. And then we can obviously build out, something if they don't reply. But we're going to go, did they reply? Yes, they did. And we're not sending them a text message back. Come on. I don't know if this is HighLevel that's being a little bit slow here, or if this is just Zoom. Come on. There we go. So Josh, since you're here, did I answer your question yesterday, or did you have more that you wanted to ask on that?
Unfortunately, in the middle of your explanation, I got a call where I needed to jump to action. So I never even reviewed the rest of the video.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you remind me what the question was?
Yeah. Basically an internal form. So at the start of every demo call, in the Extendly snapshot I bought, it texts me a form to fill out to say, how did your call with Joel go? Did he buy? Do you need to call him back? Do you need to blah, blah, blah? And so I was wondering, two parts. How do you include the form that will fill out information on Joel's contact record, and also send me the message?
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, I actually I think you asked that because I was kind of going over something similar.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it is built into the Extendly snapshots. So I was just kind of building a basic version of what they have included in there. So yeah, let me jump over to that in just a minute here.
The Extendly snapshots are so robust. I mean, they are so incredible.
Yes.
That sometimes I even struggle to copy and paste them because I'm like, I don't even know what parts I need to copy and paste. So sometimes I'm looking for that solution.
Yeah, for sure. Let me just finish going through this here, and then you can kind of adopt the same idea what I'm doing here to each different reply channel. So the changes I'm making here you would want to do for Facebook as well, right? So you would want to change the tag here to lead dash messenger, and then your reply here is not going to be an SMS, it's going to be a Facebook message. So see if this is going to let me. It's being a little bit slow right now, but let me just delete that. Just so if somebody's watching this back, they know what to do. So you just want to replace a few actions here. And it's not under Facebook. So if you're doing the search, I always search because there's so many actions in here. I usually know what I'm looking for and I don't want to have to scroll through. So I usually just use the search bar. But keep in mind, if you look for Facebook, Messenger's not there. I don't know why they didn't call it Facebook Messenger, but it is just called Messenger. So that is going to be Facebook there. So again, you can have your, hey, thanks for reaching out. How can I help you today, right? So just make sure that you replace, the outbound messages in the Facebook branch with a Facebook Messenger action. And then the rest of it's pretty much the same, right? So we sent an intro message here where, hey, how can we help you today? We're waiting for a reply. They reply. We're going to alert the user. Yeah, they replied, adding a tag, adding the task to remove that tag when you take over the conversation. Waiting 10 minutes. Is the chat still pending? Meaning that tag is still sitting there that, Joel has not come and responded back, remove the tag. And again, we'll just remove the SMS here. And so what I would do differently, this is one thing I would do a little bit differently for the different reply channels. Because this came in through GMB, right? So this is somebody went to Google, they're on their phone, they're searching for a plumber. They find ABC Plumbing in their area. They hit, first of all, they have to have GMB messaging turned on. So you have to do that through your Google business profile. And if they're using HighLevel connected to their Google business profile, and somebody, they'll have a little message bubble, right? If you look for a local business, usually there's an option to call them or visit their website. If they're using GMB messaging, there will be a little message option as well. So they can hit message, it'll open up a message window and they can send the business a message. That can come into HighLevel and that would then trigger this workflow. So we don't have their phone number. The only communication we have with them is through, I'm thinking this might be the Facebook one. That's the issue right now. Wait for reply. It's not letting me save it because, oops, not did they reply? Wait for reply here. And I want to reply, waiting for the reply to the messenger. Let's see if it'll save now. There we go. So yeah, because they came through Google, right? We don't actually have their phone number. So in this case, what we're going to want to do down here is if the chat is still pending, we're going to send that message to them. And again, we want to select GMB as the message. And it's going to say, let's go with, hey, contact first name. Let's see, we'll do something similar. Just, it looks like we're all tied up with other customers at the moment. I would love to give you a call. Or maybe we'll say we would love to give you a call as soon as somebody is available. Now we don't have their phone number, so we're going to ask for their phone number. What is the best number to reach you at? And then hopefully what they're going to do there is they're going to reply. So this is where it's going to get a little bit different. And I'm actually going to see. Went a little slow. Come on. There we go. So we're going to do another wait for reply here. I'm going to wait for a contact to reply. Actually, I'm going to say, I'm going to call this one. Go. Come on. Ask for phone. reply. All right. And then hopefully what they're going to do is they're going to respond with their phone number. And then we can actually update their contact information. So in this case, we can use the action update contact field. And then the field we're going to select is their phone number. And what we want to do here is we're going to do message body. So we're going to use the message body custom value as the basically to fill in. So hopefully they're going to answer with their phone number. We've asked for their phone. Hopefully they simply just respond with their phone. And we could even make that message very specific. And then when they respond, we can take their message and use that to update the contact field to phone. And then hopefully we'll have their phone number that way. So in this case, I would probably get even more specific on this question. And let's see, we'd like to give a call as soon as possible. Okay. So respond with just your phone number, and we will get back to you ASAP. So we're just kind of guiding them and saying respond, like telling them specifically what to do. Respond with just the phone number. And then that one's just going to sit and wait for their reply. And in this case, we can probably add in actually another if else here. And did they reply? So replied true. Okay, so we're waiting for a reply to that specific action. Did they reply? Yes, they did. Okay, cool. We're going to update the contact field, notify the user to call them, wait for 24 hours. And then down here, obviously, we're going to remove the pending GMB chat, not the pending web chat. Let's see, pending GMB. And then we actually need to add that up here as well. Okay, so if the chat is still pending, we're going to then ask for their phone number. If they respond to that, we're going to update the contact field, notify the user to call them, and then we're going to, after 24 hours, remove that tag. And I should update the name of that actually.
Hey Joel, can I ask a quick question?
Mm-hmm.
On that left column top, it says update contact field.
Yeah.
How much is that restricted to a single field? Can you update multiple fields on that?
You mean within the same action?
Correct.
Can you update multiple? I believe it's just one. It's a single action.
Okay.
Oh, actually, no, you can. You can do multiple. I think what happens though is it can get confusing.
Yeah.
To try to do multiple. Because you need to know how to map it correctly, right?
So would a form work better if I had multiple fields, like fill out a form and say, and then map, I could say this is phone, address, name.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody fills out a form, it automatically maps it. So you don't even need to go through that step. So if somebody fills out a form,
I guess I'm asking
the phone field.
In an internal, if I want to fill out the information, or have somebody fill out a few different fields after a call, would an internal form be the best way to do that?
Yeah, you could do an internal form, and again, it'll auto map all of those fields.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, on the update contact field, I can't think of a use case off the top of my head where you would want or be able to properly update multiple fields unless you knew where to map them from.
Right. Yeah, I can see it
Yeah,
getting messy. Like,
you'd have to specifically map them. Like in this case, we're asking directly, what's the best number to reach you at? Please respond with just your phone number.
mhm,
So if they reply, we're able to take their message body.
right.
Now,
And even
and
that's risky,
because
right? Because people also say like, "Yep, it's blah blah blah." But it's
which is
702.
why which is why I try to get very specific and say, please respond with just your phone number.
Yeah.
And typically, I think actually HighLevel is smart enough, and I've tested this before. You don't necessarily even need the update contact field option. If you're having a chat with somebody and they respond with their phone number, I think it is smart and it actually automatically knows to map it to their phone field.
Cool. Okay.
So yeah, this may or may not work. If they say maybe they're pissed off after waiting 10 minutes for somebody to respond and nobody did, and they get this message saying, "Hey, sorry, we're busy. We'll get back to you ASAP. What's the best phone number?" They may say, "Oh, don't worry about it." Right.
Yeah. Pound sand.
In which case, the message body actually will not be able to map to the phone because the phone field only recognizes a phone number. You
Oh, that's
cannot you can't put text into a phone field, right? So
yeah, that's slick.
Okay. And so honestly, in that case, even I would probably expand this a little bit more.
Mhm.
Just give me one sec. And I would even check, does phone exist? And then what you're going to do is you're going to say contact details, phone is not empty.
Mm.
So then that way it actually will be able to tell, okay, I asked for their phone number. They responded and told me to pound sand. So the update contact field will actually fail because it can't put text into a phone field.
Mhm.
So then it's going to say, does the phone number exist? Is looking to see if there is a phone number attached to this contact. So then it can say, okay, send the notification to the user, call them back. Here's their phone number. And if not, you can, you don't know what they're saying back. So you wouldn't necessarily automate a message back, but, or you could say, please try again and respond with just your phone number. Right. You can kind of take that in any kind of direction you want there.
Yep.
And then same thing with Facebook. So I would basically, everything we just kind of did there for Google, I would just translate that to Facebook. So even in this case, it might make more sense. We duplicated the web chat widget one, but we could actually delete this whole thing.
Mm-hmm. From that point, this is where you're actually going to use that from here forward thing, right? Oh, I thought it would.
If you delete an if else function, it automatically deletes everything.
Oh, fun.
After it. Yeah. Any other action, you can say delete this one action or delete everything. If you delete an if else function, it will delete everything that comes after it. So
because it's all relying on that if else. You can't just pull it out. All right, one question for you that's from your, I know underneath that goatee is a chin that has taken a lot of shots in programming HighLevel, taking a lot of mistakes. When you're building something like this and it's starting to fill up your screen, right? Any best practices for large format layouts, like large format workflows like this? Any tips?
Try not to go too big. So you could essentially, and I said this right in the beginning, but you weren't on the call at that time. You could do this all together like this, and then you're just breaking it down by which reply channel. You could also, some people like to build everything in one workflow. Some people like to build things in separate workflows. So you could build this once, like for the web chat widget, and then just clone the workflow and then make your changes there, change the trigger to Google, clone it again, change it to Facebook.
I noticed Extendly snapshots are typically built individual. So it would be, a GMB messaging version of this, a Facebook Messenger version of this, chat widget version of this, and a whatever. Instagram.
Yeah, it's all really, your preference and how you
Mhm.
like to build. And if you have a good understanding of the if else functions and how they all kind of work and how the branches all, work together, you can build them out like this. I probably wouldn't go bigger. Like we've got 3 branches and then they branch off a little bit and do different things. And we didn't even get into like, okay, well, what do you do, under these none paths?
Can you drag, like, if you just wanted that center one to just be a dashed line until it's below the body of the other 2? Is that possible? Can you move these things around, or is it fixed?
Sorry, can you say that again?
So you see how you're getting long dashed lines at the very beginning? Can you drag where
Up
it says
here?
like, yeah. So could you drag that first Facebook Messenger blue box just underneath your cursor? Could you just drag that down screen to give yourself some space, or they're fixed position?
No, they're all fixed. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's other like workflow builders. Like I came from, even before HighLevel, I used to use like ManyChat and building, bots and stuff in there for Messenger, and everything is really fluid, right? You can drag and you can move stuff around and kind of design your workflow and everything how you want it to. Unfortunately, this is not the same. It's very static.
I
You
came
can
from
see
the
it kind of
Infusionsoft world.
spreads things out to fit the screen, but yeah, you have to kind of zoom out to see everything if you want.
I came from
one.
Infusionsoft, and one of the a very smart, whatever you call it, consultant there said, never build a workflow where it looks like Spider-Man is taking gymnastics lessons inside your workflow.
Yeah.
And I see some like that, because if your if else jumps back up to, verify phone number, and you get these crossing lines, it gets tough.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, from there, just in case anybody watches this back on the replay, from there, I would just, so what I did was I copied over the GMB one, because the functions at the bottom here of asking for the phone number, we would do the same thing with Facebook because we don't have the phone number yet. So then you would just go through, change out your tags, update, any of the GMB messages, make them a Facebook message. And that should pretty much cover you. So just go through and swap those out. I'll answer your other question here really quick, and then I got another call waiting for me. So we kind of built this out yesterday. Add appointment notes. All right, so sort of along the same lines of what comes in the Extendly snapshot with that form, right? You've got an appointment 2 minutes before your call, you get a text message with the link to that form. So what I did with that, and I'm pretty sure this is similar to how Extendly has it built as well. Appointment internal notes, I think, is the one. So you would have your reminder sequence, et cetera, in here. I just did this really quickly. So internal notification, you would have this set up to go, 1 minute, 2 minutes, whatever, before your appointment comes up. So, hey, here's the form for your upcoming appointment with so-and-so. So then we just put a hyperlink in here. And this is actually a trigger link. And with that trigger link, just hop over to the trigger link so you can see what was done there. So I just linked directly to the form. I didn't build a landing page or anything. You could do that. I just took the direct link to the form. And then what I did was I added URL parameters at the end. So you start off with question mark, and then you put in whatever your query key is for the field that you want filled in. And then you use the custom field. So in this case, we went and full_name equals contact.name, and email equals contact.email, and phone equals, looks like I actually have, that's why that one didn't work yesterday. Let's get rid of that extra ampersand in there. Phone equals contact.phone. So what that's going to do is when you get that notification, when you get that text message, or if you send it through an email, this would be, fired off of an appointment being booked. So the appointment was booked by the contact. So when you open up that form, it's going to have the contact's information pre-filled in the form. So even though you're the one filling it out, it's going to attach whatever you put in that form to the contact and not to you.
Because it's triggered off of the contact's info and date of their appointment.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So by putting those URL parameters in the trigger link, when you click on that link, because the link was created basically when the customer booked an appointment. So that is going to pull their information in and pre-fill that in the form. So then anything else you do in there is going to attach to that contact. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So I just built out a simple version of this form. I know that Extendly's is a little bit more in detail. So just name, email, phone number, and then internal notes, right? So if you want to leave a note for them, you would, you're filling out the form. This gets pre-filled when you click on that link. So you don't have to fill that in. That'll be the contact's information. You'll put your notes in there, submit the form. And then we have another automation. And again, Extendly's is done in a similar manner where we're adding the appointment notes. And this is going to be triggered off of the form being submitted. So form is appointment notes. And then we have a note action. And we're going to just take that custom field from that form and pop it in as the note.
Okay.
And I did a test on this yesterday as well. If you want to, you can rewatch the replay of it. I think it was this contact here. And there you go. See, I filled in the form twice and it added a note each time firing off of that automation. So, and that's
cool.
Another kind of use case I mentioned yesterday with this is that, yes, you can go in, you can see, if you go into the form submissions section, you can see every time if somebody submits a form multiple times, you can see their information there. But the custom field here gets overridden every single time that form gets filled out. So using the notes here is a good way to at least have a record of that stuff, because the next time it gets filled out, this is only going to show what was the last thing to be filled out in that field.
Okay.
So does that answer that for you?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to rewatch this a couple times.
Okay.
But I think for the most part, I get the idea.
Awesome.
Yep. So are you here?
Hop off
just
for another
2 days
call.
a week, or?
Yeah, I'm on. Yeah, I do Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 9 Pacific.
Okay.
And then James Hurst is 11:30. I think he's 4 days a week. And then Zach Gilliland is also on same time slot on the other days of the week.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
All right. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks for hopping on.
Right.
Have a great
Thanks,
day.
Joel. Bye-bye.
See ya.